Welcome to Stories and Songs by Afterglow Music. My name is Joel McCausland.
And I'm Kevin Peay, and we've been creating music for a long time.
We'd like to tell you the stories behind our songs. Today we'd like to talk about a song called What Can I Do? Kevin, this is one you wrote for our Mercyville album, I think.
I did. It was at a time period, I'm not quite sure what year, but I remember there was a lot going on with Haiti. And there was an earthquake.
Oh yeah, a lot of devastation and trouble down there.
Yeah, and that hasn't eased up,
Right?
From what we can tell. But the thought process came in regards to there is so much in the world that is happening as prophesied and as predicted, and there's organizations that are doing wonderful things, from UNICEF to Red Cross to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to Catholic Relief to all other organizations that are doing everything they can to help with the suffering and the needy. And I'm thinking to myself, but what can I do on a personal level? And maybe it's not to Haiti unless it's to be able to donate. I don't have a real pathway to get over there and to start moving bricks and rubble and those type things, but there's so many people that do so many wonderful things around the world on excursions and humanitarian things. And so I tried to personalize this a little bit more and draw it down to me in regards to what can I do to ease your pain? How can I lighten your load? This has been evident this last couple of weeks from a couple of perspectives. Number one, I have a wonderful mother who's taken a few falls, and
How old's your mom now, Jeff?
she'll be 92. It's coming
92.
up pretty
Wow.
quick. But this is an example of something that hits really close to home in regards to, Mom, how can I really help you? Mm-hmm. And how can I ease your pain? How can I lighten your load? And there's the natural love that comes, as you know, because there are mothers and our family members, and you are drawn through just love because they're your own kin and your own family. But realistically, what is it that I can do to really help you in this situation? And it was interesting to me because we've just lost somebody 2 nights ago, my first cousin. So there's a lot of heartache and suffering that are going on right now. But what's interesting is to find the component above love that really provides what I call seek service. And anything that you can do to just simply lighten somebody's load, whether it's a word, a text, a phone call, whether it's a visit, holding a hand. And really what was interesting is as you visit and you hold somebody's hand and you listen and you acknowledge and you just be there as they allow you, and you are sensitive to the environment, you're sensitive to those that are around you. And in my mother's case right now, as she lays there in her bed and she's trying everything that she can to get back to where she was, it hurts. Mm-hmm. But holding her hand, giving positive encouragement, and always being positive in the approach of, you can do this.
What can I do to ease your pain? How can I carry your load? I'll do what I can to bring hope again by giving some love of my own. By giving some love of my own.
You know, you and Cindy have served at Primary Children's and at the Intermountain Medical Center. How long has that been now? How long have you been doing that?
Oh boy, since 2013. So I think we're in our 11th year.
I'm guessing you've had lots of opportunity to sit with somebody and hold their hand and get them through hard things. Are there some experiences that you'd share about that?
Yeah, there is. In regards to, as I sit and watch Mom, as we have witnessed other patients in rooms, we've learned a number of things. We've learned, number one, permissions and respect, dignity and approach, understanding the room, and then being sensitive to what the Spirit directs you to do. And we've talked a little bit about how it's important for us to think and say a silent prayer associated to what the need before you is. And yes, there's many situations, some that I think I can share and some that maybe I can't, but if Cindy were on the microphone, which some point in time she might be, she might have a little different perspective, but I know that watching a husband prepare for his wife's departure, stepping out of the room, seeking guidance on his growth and his faith in regards to what her next step was, and would he be left behind, and how can he process? In many instances, you're a loss of words.
It would be so hard to come up with the right thing and say the right thing in the right way to give them what they need in that moment.
But at some point in time, you come back to what President Nelson told one of our dear mothers who was about to witness her young teenager transferring to the other side. And his resounding words were the following: trust. It was as simple as trust. And trust in what? As it comes from President Nelson, and as it comes from knowing a little bit about a plan of salvation that we believe, is that trust the Lord's process, trust the Lord's timing, and trust the Lord's mission for both you and for your loved one. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that trust is just really hard. But it's interesting because as you go room to room, it's really based upon timing, trust the process, trust the Lord. He is the master healer. He knows all. He sees all. He is all. And if we can put our faith in that He has us, He carries us, and as long as we will put Him first, it all comes back to His will. And it all comes back to what He wants for us. So there's a lot of different unique experiences as you go room to room. There's no shortage of variety of mortality incidents. No shortage. And they come in various forms, whether it be tragedy, whether it be somebody determining they want to make a transfer because of agency and because somebody inflicted something upon them. But it's interesting because as you look at what can I do to ease your pain, it's really about listening, love, and trust.
Yeah, that's really good, Kev. I'm kind of imagining that you guys have had a lot of really amazing experiences with that, and I kind of see myself in a place like that, and I think there'd be so many times that I really wouldn't know what to say. I just would be at a loss for words, and I'd be wondering. But that perspective of understanding that, so if I could see the Savior in that room, in that same place, in that same time, there's no question in my mind that He would know exactly what to do and exactly how to do it. And that gives me a little hope too, because, if I can learn, like you said, to listen and to try to seek some guidance and some direction from the Spirit in a case like that, or a tough interaction with a family member or whatever I'm dealing with, just thinking about the fact that He would know. He would know what to say and how to say it. He'd know what to do. And then maybe I can learn from that. Maybe I could come up with that by trying to emulate and trying to listen. That's good advice.
I think we've learned some other things as well in regards to waiting upon the Lord. In our mortal existence, we tend to want to rush things because we experience and see pain, or we see suffering, and we want it to end. We don't necessarily want the patients to have to endure witnessing someone else suffer or even suffering ourselves.
Right.
And waiting upon the Lord in many instances, however long it takes, which has been interesting to watch people who have been waiting for a heart without any resolution of when that heart might come. Because as you think about it, it takes a certain experience for a heart to come, or a lung, or a kidney in many instances. For somebody else to stay alive, somebody else has to give. And in many instances, that's not a predicted timeline.
Right.
And you wait upon the Lord, you wait upon those circumstances. But as we try and seek what we can do to help others, it's really it's really more or less not so much words, but reminders in regards to what the Lord has said doctrinally as it pertains to come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And so when you keep the Savior in our hearts and minds and Him first in regards to His will, sometimes so hard to do because we're in the moment, and sometimes so hard to do because things are beeping at us and we're annoyed and we've got conflict or opposition or whatever it might be. But the reminders of that particular doctrine, that He is the message, and He will comfort, He will lift and lead. I mean, it's like the old footprints in the sand that we did way back on a project called Someone Is Listening.
We should do that song sometime.
That He carries us.
Yeah.
He carries us.
You know, this might be too much of a diversion, and if it is, that's okay. But talking about some of these challenges that people deal with, some of the faith challenges and crises, and having to wait on the Lord when things are really hard and they're going through a tragedy or a very difficult time. You know, I had somebody who's not a member of our church, not really of our faith, was like, you know, and I know it's the oldest thing in the book, but why so much suffering? Couldn't God just fix this? Couldn't the Savior just wipe all of it away? And it's not like we haven't thought about that question and talked about it. It's been, gosh, I read about that with C.S. Lewis in college. You know, he had a whole book about it. But it feels like something, too, that you have to grapple with personally. And, you know, there's the one side of it where maybe you kind of intellectually wonder about the problem of pain, the problem of suffering in the world, and how, hey, if God's all-powerful, why can't He just wipe it away? There are times when it gets really personal. And it's really easy then to say, why does this person, like you were just saying, why does this person who I love so much have to go through this?
And whatever the concept is, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, I think I've narrowed it down to three things. And that is love, listen, and remember. And those three principles have probably taken us into whatever situation we find ourselves in communicating with patients, their families, in those hospital circumstances. And then, of course, maybe there was 4, trust.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what I think we can do. And this song was written for trying to personalize it for me. The Savior has taken upon Himself all of our burdens, all of the things that we experience, and understands everything that we go through.
I guess I just have been feeling this a lot lately because of experiences and things. Diana and I were out to lunch the other day and ran into some old friends that used to be in my neighborhood up in Fruit Heights. And they've had a couple of their kids go through some tragedies lately. And I'm listening to it, and it's, you know, we're out for lunch, and it's just easy to sort of go, oh, that's too bad, and kind of let it go, right? And I feel for them, but it was just in passing as they're walking out the door and we're walking out the door.
Sure.
And how are you doing? And all that. And then today, on the way here, I stop, get a drink, and I run into one of their kids. One of the kids who's gone through a real tragedy in his life. And boy, it brought it home. It was like, suddenly he's right there. He's standing in front of me. And up until now, it's a story and it's something I heard about, and I feel bad for him. And then he's right there, and I see the tragedy on his face. I see that he's still dealing with it. He lost his wife this past year, and a couple of kids at home, and, you know, all those things. And I guess the thing that just keeps striking me about this is that this might be one of the most important things we get asked to do in this life. This concept of what can I do ought to be the measure of how well we're trying to emulate what the Savior wants us to do in life and what He did when He was here.
Sure. His
whole life was about, what can I do today? And He did miraculous things. But, you know, He didn't establish a government, and I tell our service missionaries that Jesus was a service missionary because He did His whole ministry close to home. He was with people that He loved and knew, His family and His friends. And I think it's one of the greatest tests for us is, can I set aside the stuff that's on my mind and my heart, the stuff that's occupying everything I have to do, and when I get a moment, that I can show some compassion or some charity to someone, do I set it aside and do that? Or do I stay caught up in all the stuff that, is on my plate?
Well, hopefully the song brings some perspective and some peace to those that listen. It was definitely eye-opening for me. Grateful that there was a small portal for those words to come and then for the music to follow along, and grateful that we were able to put your voice to it, and so that I could sing a little harmony to it as well, because I just love the baritone and I'm a little bit more the tenor. So,
well, let's listen to it. Let's hear the whole song as we wrap this up today.
I see a light inside, and I hear the voice of a whispering. I feel the love He gives to those who will serve those who live. What can I do to ease your pain? How can I carry your load? I'll do what I can to bring hope again by giving some love of my own. Listen and you will hear the prayer of His children who care. And when we are feeling down, the arms of our Savior surround. What can I do to ease your pain? How can I carry your load? I'll do what I can to bring hope again by giving some love of my own. Pray to our Father above to guide us to those who need love, and give life, give love. What can I do to ease your pain? How can I carry your load? I'll do what I can to bring hope again by giving some love of my own. By giving some love of my own.